Startup Builder. I need to unlearn old stuff to make space for new stuff. Okay, fantastic. So cloud exploring, I'll be in touch in a sec. But I want to bring in Robbie. Robbie, I'm adding you to the stream. Hopefully you're presentable. There you go. Hi,
Hi,
Robbie.
how you doing? Hi, yeah, pretty good, pretty good. That was really interesting. I feel
Yeah,
like I'm going to have to make use of the startup loft as well.
yeah. I mean, we no, you have a direct line with me, so you don't need that. I mean, yeah. But yeah. So Robbie, we met a while ago because you were trying to find a way to share the love about Lupovis on the AWS marketplace. But before we get into that, I really want to understand a little bit more about first of all, like you have a fantastic tagline in your website, which is deception as a service. And like the first time I had a look at that, I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is. Like, why would somebody want to build deception as a service? Are you deceiving me right now? So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, of course. So where Lipovis sort of really starts, we're a spin out of Strathclyde University, built on top of around 10 years worth of research, but we've been what I like to call a proper company for about 2 years now. What Where it sort of really started was our CEO, Xavier, was consulting on maritime cyber, and he was asked what sounds like two really simple questions. How do we detect a breach quicker, and how do we remove or reduce false positives? And this sort of spawned these sort of 10 years worth of research into various different technologies that I'm sure everybody's really familiar with, from like antivirus to IDS to user training, but they all still sort of produce different types of problems. The average time to detect and contain a breach is 314 days. And currently, that's a massive amount of time to have somebody hiding within your network, whether it's on-prem, in AWS, wherever. It's a huge amount of time to have somebody sitting around gathering intel, working out how best to exploit you. Yeah, we're a more mature company in a SOC. It can be reduced to around 200 days, but it's still a huge amount of time, and that's with all these layered security approaches,
Yeah.
as well
So
as that.
basically, like
Yeah.
people had a lot of. I mean, it took like a lot of time to even understand that somebody was poking around your network, right?
Exactly, and that's where cyber deception comes in. It starts to
Mm.
sort of turn the tables in two very, very meaningful ways. One of the key things is because cyber deception is built off an older technology called honeypots, but
Mm-hmm.
that now makes up a larger security sector called cyber deception. So it's based off of this original idea of one of the hardest things to do in cybersecurity is differentiate legitimate traffic from malicious traffic. Looking at a PCAP, just it's very, very difficult. We have multitude of tools trying to differentiate that traffic, and it just it doesn't work very well. It's really prone to false positives, and then on top of that, people companies are over cautious with their training because they're so worried about missing an alert, missing an attack, that they want to make sure they correct that. So what we did was take that sort of step back, look at this older technology, look at honeypots, and think, okay, if there's zero legitimate use for somebody to be interacting with this service, we can then take a massive leap forward and not have to do that differentiation. What we can then start to do is feed an attacker information to gather more information about them, and ultimately work out how to thwart them better. The sort of the best example is as a security person, my worst nightmare is you wake up one day, try to get logged into your computer, and your entire company's been hit with ransomware. Right? Nightmare scenario, right? Absolute nightmare scenario. As part of a defense in depth approach, you'll probably have backups, maybe some kind of PAM, a SIEM tool. But with cyber deception, what we've also went and built is a decoy that looks almost exactly like your other file systems.
Mm.
Maybe this one isn't backed up properly. Maybe there's a slight misconfiguration on it, something that makes it slightly more alluring to an attacker than your multitude of other file servers. And the goal there is to pull an attacker towards it and get them to start running ransomware on the decoy service rather than the real one. And what that then allows us to do is cut out all that noise as, oh, is a person just encrypting one of their files because they want to put it on a USB, or are they encrypting files because they're doing something malicious? We don't have to worry about that. The second somebody starts interacting with this file server, you can get an alert straight away.
Wow.
What we then do is continue to waste an attacker's time, so that they're focused on encrypting our data set, our pretend data set, but at the same time you're being alerted and you can eradicate them from the network more effectively and in a nicer way without having to pay a bunch of bitcoins to a wallet somewhere.
So basically, you get two birds with one stone. So you start learning about the type of attacks that you are prone to, or like that somebody is trying to orchestrate against you, and in the meantime, you're like keeping off the attacker because they think they are actually working on something that is value, whereas it has no value at all, and it's actually like working against them. And
yeah, exactly.
We also have another question from the chat. Juice Muscolo, thank you for your question there. So, does wasting an attacker's time come with a cost?
Ooh,
of that.
Interesting. Do you mean? I'll try and answer it from both a financial and a technical. From a financial point of view, how we deploy our decoys is it's a virtual machine that sits within your network. You can deploy it anywhere. And the idea behind it is once it's deployed, if you're deploying on AWS, it maybe cost you 30 or 40 quid a month to host it. So from a financial cost, it's pretty low. But when we look at it compared to the cost of a breach and even just breach minimization, so making a breach 1% less impactful, even 0.1% less impactful, that 40 quid a month or something like that pales into insignificance if that's the kind of answer that you're looking for.
It also like I think it has the advantage of the fact that like orchestrating an attack, maybe not the ransomware, but like if you like a DDoS or anything else that requires a lot of computation on the attacker side, it's gonna like I mean it will prevent them for any further attacks towards your company.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things I'll answer this first. Yeah, it's super easy to set up. It takes less than 10 minutes. You create a virtual machine. You then run a quick pairing script that joins it to our SaaS platform. And then the way that it sort of differentiates itself is from a normal honeypot is we've built out these things called narratives. So we've got one-click deploy narratives, and the idea is it's not just a single decoy or a single honeypot sitting there. Decoy 1 can point to decoy 2 and point to decoy 3. And what we do is we sprinkle breadcrumbs through it so that an attacker thinks they're getting more privilege in the network, thinks they're getting to more juicy data. They think they're getting further into their attack pattern, but in reality, we're just holding their attention so that you can mount this effective response. At the same
pure
time.
Evil, man. That's fantastic. I love it. So first of all, Lo-Fi Stream Chilled, thank you so much for that question. And again, I love your username. Let us know what kind of lo-fi are you streaming in the chat box. But Robbie, so you gather all this information, and this is your one, let's say, stream of business, right? But you have another stream of business, which is the one that you launched on AWS Marketplace.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So the first thing I was talking about we call Snare, but we have another product which is almost powered by Snare, but sits kind of over to itself. And the idea there is with Snare, we ensnare an attacker and pull out their tactics, techniques, and procedures and understand how they're attacking you. What we then wanted to do is create an even more lightweight version of that to allow hopefully new customers to be able to get the best out of this technology and understand what their external threat landscape is, understand who might be attacking them externally, understand that if they get a SIEM alert through, they can do some correlation with an external source. And that's where Prowl comes into it. Can I share the
Yeah, I'm adding you to the stream
Yeah,
right now.
perfect. Thank you very much. Cool. So what we did initially was we created this thing called Prowl. And the idea behind Prowl is we host hundreds, if not thousands, of our own decoys externally facing. And then what we do is we collate all that information together and provide it to users in a really easy way to consume. We created a website called prowl.lepovis.io. And you can see it here, super simple. You can put an IP address in, you hit search, you get some answers. It's really great. It's really easy to use. Please go and have a shot of it. But what we were trying to then get to, and this is mostly why I'm sort of here to chat to you today, is because we wanted to be able to allow customers to automate this and make use of it and consume it in a really slick and easy way. And that's sometimes quite difficult when you've got massive amounts of data, massive amounts of analytics, and we wanted to be able to charge people per API request so they can flex, they can just use as much as they want, and take it from there. And that's where Giuseppe and the great AWS team came in. They helped us release our API on the AWS marketplace. So it means that customers can come in, look at the marketplace, click buy now, and they just get charged 2 cents per request. And they can make as many requests as they want, and they can use it to enrich all their other data that they're already pulling into other security tooling. This is an idea of the UI version, but the API is super simple to use. You can curl it, you can automate with it, all that sort of stuff. You go into, you get an API key sent to you, and it's pretty sort of simple.
Okay, so basically, let me recap the full journey. So first of all, that amazing piece of tech that you have, as Lo-Fi Stream Chills was saying. So first of all, yeah, you deploy these decoys. Not only like it's a simple honeypot, somebody that you could just like log into your AWS account and create like a fake honeypot, but actually you do like this sort of narrative, like you're tricking the attacker into thinking, oh yeah, I'm getting inside your network, like I'm in like in the 90s movies, something like that. So you build a narrative around that, but not only with that, like you instrumented all of your honeypots to basically stream data, and then you basically stream that data. You have you run your analytics, and then you can sell the information that you get out of these attacks through APIs. So these are like the two lines of business in your wow, that's fantastic, man.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We've got a sort of sort of full fat product, which is Snare, and then the Prowl as well, which is just this API that's really easy to consume and really easy to get started using.
Sounds great. So that's an impressive piece of tech, and I guess that I mean, what the cloud challenges that you are facing are probably not trivial at all. Are you folks like hiring to like augment your team? How does your how big is your team right now? What's what's the story there?
Yeah, cool. So there's 15 of us, about 15 of us across the entire company. The tech team is 6 at the moment. And what we really sort of focus on is platform stability and making sure that we are developing these new decoys to continually trick attackers. The bit of the tech team that we're working on at the moment mostly is the threat hunting side of things. So we've recently built out a couple of models to help us with this, machine learning models. And what we do is, because we see all of these different kinds of attacks, we've got a massive step forward by not having to differentiate between benign traffic and malicious traffic. We've got a massive step forward, and what we're now trying to do is differentiate between an understood attack and a non-understood attack. And that's how we're going to sort of focus on looking for 0 days and new and novel ways of exploiting misconfigurations or issues with existing services. So that's one part of the business that we're working on at the moment, which is how do we start finding these things that other people haven't seen before. And that's one part that we're really trying to work on at the moment.
Oh, right. So like you're throwing an AI and ML in the mix now. So you have enough data, and you're at the stage where you can actually unleash the AI Magic. Well, that's fantastic, Robbie. I love it, and again, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm super glad that we were able to help you, like in sharing Snare and mostly Prowl on the APIs. I think we need to have a conversation around data exchange as well, because I have a few ideas on how we can make it make it even easier to share the full data set, not only through the APIs, but there are different ways that we can do it. But that's for a call between you and me.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a few questions about how we can do more customizable queries as well, so that'd be great.
Oh, there's another question coming up, and I think I'm afraid it's going to be the last question for today, because we have to clear up the stream for another program coming up, and we just hit the 1 hour mark.